How's it going, everybody? It has been a good while, a very, very good while. And I miss y'all guys. I ain't gonna lie to you. Hope everything is good. Now, let me just say the reason I haven't been posting to my fighting game channel is because your boy's been playing a lot of first person shooters. Or shooters in general. That's what you want to call them. And, there ain't so much room for fighting games anymore just because I feel like things have kind of slowed down a bit. Like, one of the major games that I did play, whether it be like online or offline, was Mortal Kombat 1, and they just fully stopped support. I feel like Tekken's been kind of, hit or miss, kind of. Street Fighter's been good, I will admit. When it comes to the fighting games I do pick up when I have been playing, it has been Street Fighter 6. Guilty Gear's been good too. I feel like that's one of those games that I've always kind of enjoyed, Guilty Gear. So it's definitely those two. I feel like those two are holding it down. Not to take it away from Tekken, because I've been playing Tekken since 3. So yeah, it's definitely up there. But anyways, I miss you guys. Hope everybody's good. And I didn't want to post content half-heartedly, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't want to just post just to post. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I just want to make something and throw it out there. That has never been me. I'm never gonna post anything that doesn't weigh heavy on my mind, or something that I kind of keep harping on. Like, I'm never gonna make content just to make it. I'm gonna make it because that's what I'm feeling. And now back to the meat and potatoes of today, which would be the PS5 controller versus the PS4 controller. Now, you understand, I understand that people's situations are different. So you might have people who have been like, dude, I've been playing since the first PlayStation, but obviously that meaning I've owned a PS4 and then switched to the PS5. Or you have people that maybe like the PS5 is my first console ever. So there's always a side to something. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because this controller is okay. This controller is peak, in my opinion. Like, I absolutely love this controller with all my soul. And you're talking to a guy who, has touched every kind of controller you could think of, whether it was made for fighting games or not. You know what I mean? Whether it was Xbox, PS5, PS4, Nintendo, whatever, anything you could think of. I've probably touched it at one point or another, but this is still my go-to. Now, you gotta understand, there are always ways to fix whatever you like. My complaints with this thing is that, to me, it doesn't feel like it was meant to be held in your hand for long. Does that make sense? Like, to me, it's bulky. It weighs a lot, and it just has a weird shape, in my opinion. Like, if you look at this thing and hold it, it feels heavy, in my opinion. Like, this thing should not be. If I dropped it from here, it would make a loud noise, and I'm not gonna do that. Nice try, but I'm not gonna do that. But it just feels really heavy, Like, as you see on here, I made the sticks longer just because, like I said, your boy's been playing a lot of first-person shooters, so that's what I've been doing. And they work fine for fighting games, to be honest. When I play King, it doesn't get in my way. You know what I mean? I do what I gotta do. But this thing just feels really, really heavy. Like, it's just heavy, And like I said, it feels like, obviously when you're in game, you're not gonna pay attention to that, like how heavy it feels or how, like, the shape and stuff like that. To me, it just has a weird shape, and it just feels really heavy. Like, to me, when I hold this, mind you, it doesn't feel too light, but it's there to where you can notice the weight. It weighs less than this, and it just has a good shape to it. Like, I just like how it looks. You know what I mean? Like, it fits right. Like, if you've never seen the controller side by side, like, you won't be able to tell. But I mean, like, this just feels perfect. Like, I love how this feels. I just can't let it go, And if you were like me when you first got your PS5, because when I first got my PS5, I straight up gave my PlayStation 4 and all the controllers that came with it to my niece. And I was like, here, you can have it. Don't worry about it. Little did my dumbass know was that the PS4 controllers do still work on PS5, especially with your PS4 games and things like that. And if you want to use a PS4 and a PS5 controller, you have to buy an adapter, if you will. Something that you plug the controller in wired to the actual adapter, which lets you play on PS5. And mind you, they do sell wireless adapters, the one that you can connect to, obviously, Bluetooth, and then you play PS5 games with your PS4 controller. Ooh, excuse me. And I'm the biggest fan of those, But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it was my niece, and I wanted to do that for her because she had like an old ass PS4 that wasn't taken care of and shit, and it was like overheating and all kinds of stuff like that. When I gave her mine was well taken care of. I'm one of those people who takes apart their consoles, cleans them, and same thing with the controller, and fixes whatever's wrong with them. So mind you, when I gave her that PS4, like I said, nothing was wrong with it. I cleaned it up, gave her all kinds of accessories, battery packs, you know, like charging docks and stuff like that. And I gave her at least maybe 4 to 5 controllers. Which, if I would have known, I would have gave her 2 and kept the rest for myself. So every PS4 controller I have now, it's literally one that I've gotten back over time. But yeah, you can definitely. I mean, I don't know if you guys know that, but I was surprised to know that. I was surprised to know that the PS4 controllers work on the PS5. So when I found that out, I was like, damn. You know. So anyways, I got them back. Started playing, you know, PS4 controllers on my old PS4 games, you know, just like back in the day. But yeah, I just can't give it. I just can't say it enough that I love this controller. And if you're one of those people who's just like, you know, like it weighs too much or anything like that, any kind of gripe you have, there are ways to either make it better or make it to where it's more to your liking. Now, what I mean by that is like, say like if you're someone like me who, you know, who glazes the shit out of this controller, but like you feel that same way, but about this controller, you're just like, I don't like this controller for whatever. This controller's better. There are always things you can do to make it better. Like you can find 200 milliamp PS5 batteries and make the battery on this thing so much better. And the same thing can be said with the PS4 controller. You can literally find PS4 batteries, 200 milliamp, and make this thing so much more better. More battery life, if you will. And if you're one of those people who's like, oh, well, I don't have the tools and stuff like that to do these things like that, dude, some of these things come with everything you need to open it, and also to, you know, to like, you know, to pry it open, not pry it, because obviously you don't have to break it, to pry it open and then unscrew all the screws, unscrew all the screws, and then pry it open to get inside to do what you got to do. And it's very simple. My first time opening a PS5 controller, I try to stay away from tutorials just so I can kind of get a, you know, feel for myself. You know, I won't do anything too crazy to it, but I opened mine the first time and, you know, I fixed it up and stuff like that. I even did my neighbor's. My neighbor's controller was all gross and he was like, oh, the start button sticks. Opened it, cleaned it, by the way, it was just a little dirty. Cleaned it and it worked just fine. Like it wasn't nothing wrong with it. So you can fix these things. Same thing with these. It just depends on where you get them from. Like if you go to Amazon or anywhere like that, you can buy like all the tools you need to open this thing. And there are even some cases where you go to AliExpress, you can get 4 batteries for, look at this shit, $5.95. And mind you, don't go do that. I'm just saying, because, you know, the reason I said is because the quality control, like you don't know what you're gonna get, so it's a risk anytime you buy something from like a site like AliExpress. I'm just saying, I've never bought from AliExpress. I just hear things here and there. So yeah. And there's a bunch of things you can do. Like, look, you can even get mouse click triggers for your PS4. Now, if you notice, the reason why I say the PS, which is this is exactly how it looks if you were to do a mouse click. This thing is so easy to install. Like, it's so easy to install. Your boy did it himself. This is my controller that I have the mouse click triggers on. And in case you don't believe me, listen. And I mean, everything has the mouse click triggers. The buttons, the triggers, the D-pad. You know what I mean? The only thing this controller is missing to make it awesome is Hall effect sticks, which I do want to learn how to install them, like, you know, desoldering and soldering and all stuff like that. I do want to learn how to do that. But the point I'm trying to make to you is that you can make whatever you dislike about these controllers, you can make it better. You know what I mean? The one thing I will admit that what I've heard, I've never tried it, is that when it comes to doing PS5 mouse click triggers, like putting these, like that same type of style on your actual PS5, like this, you will need to solder them on. You will need to know how to desolder and resolder things on, which is what this looks like right here. For the PS5, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, don't quote me, I'm just saying. And once again, if you're one of those people who, what I mean by a converter for when it comes to the PS4, like if you want to plug a PS4 controller and use that on the games that you have. Now mind you, this is just for fighting games for certain converters. Like we have here, what is it? The FGC Wingman. This is the 2, but you can also get the 1. The difference between them, if I'm not mistaken, is that you can do this on PS5 and PC with the 2, but with the 1, it's with PS5. Which, if that's what you're using, that's all you need. You can take this, like a PS4 controller, plug in a wire, plug that one directly into the FGC Wingman, and it works on your PS5 games. Fighting games, mind you. But there are converters out there that let you play your PS4 games with any PS5 game. You just got to find them. More than likely, you can find them on Amazon. I don't know of the brands exactly, just because I've never needed to buy, you know, whatever game. And typically, one thing you can do is, well, that's available to you usually, is when you buy a PS5 game, it will give you a PS4 option if it has one. Like you can download the PS5 version or the PS4 version, your choice. But yeah, I think that's amazing, by the way. Giving that option to someone who say like you bought a PS5 used and you have no PS5 controllers that came with it, but you still got your PS4 and your PS4 controllers. Boom, there you go. You just saved money by doing that. Not to mention if you had money to buy a converter, there you go. It's all taken care of. And mind you, this is just for even for the people who don't have any money. Like say you have your old school PS4 that you used to play and then you upgraded to a PS5. You can download your PS4 games that you've had previously, especially the digital ones or even the disc ones, and you can use your PS4 controller to play them on there. So don't be so quick to, toss your controllers away. And mind you, I'm only saying that because some people act like, not act, obviously. If you don't know, you don't know. But if you don't know, then I'm happy to tell you, you can do that. It's like the same time I had a friend come over who was buying his hitbox from him, which if you don't know what a hitbox is, it's basically an arcade stick with, a leverless arcade stick is what I want to say. But he came over, he noticed I had a PS5 and he's like, you can't play that on there. I plugged it in and was playing it because it was a PS4 game. And he was like, how did you get it to work on a PS5? I'm like, it'll still play PS4 games. You just can't play PS5 games on it unless you have the, the converter. He's like, oh, I didn't even know that. I'm like, yeah, dude, it still works. Same thing with the controllers. You can play PS4 games on PS5 and use a PS4 controller. I wish, Sony would let you play PS5 games with the PS4. That'd be awesome. Also, there are a bunch of things that this thing does. Actually, let me pull this over here. If I can get it, there you go. These are the key differences between the PS4 DualShock and the PS5 DualSense. Now, mind you, I thought it was just me who was like, oh, I prefer this or the PS4 over the PS5 controller. But dude, I found so many subreddits and people who are, who are on either side of it, just being like, this one's better, that one's better for whatever reason. And it's mostly because these reasons right here, all of these. It's either some people do like this one for it does that. There's people like this one because it does or doesn't have that. Which it makes sense. Like me, going down the list, design and comfort, I like the PS4 controller over the PS5 one. I like the DualShock better than the DualSense, in my opinion, just because of the design and the comfort. This is less heavier in my opinion, and it just feels right in my hand, in my opinion. Like the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers built into this, that's probably why this damn thing's so heavy. And I can honestly say that I've had my PS5 for a good while, like probably a little bit after it came out, and I've never once used the adaptive triggers or the haptic feedback. And like another thing is that built-in microphone. No wonder why this thing's basically a tank, dude. It has all kinds of shit on it. Like I don't need a built-in microphone. That's just, can you imagine how weird you'd look if somebody walks in and you're playing a game and you're screaming at your controller? Like, nah, I don't know about that one, coach. That ain't the move. But that, and also one of the main complaints at the bottom is the battery life. This one does have a longer battery life than this one, obviously, but you can make these have better battery lives if you're willing to get, what you need. But look, even the bottom, like these are literally the subreddits that I see on here. Was anyone else think the PS4 controller is better than the PS5? See, like I've gone through so many, posts for whatever reason of people, picking their ones. You know what I mean? And mind you, I have no dislike of this controller. Like if I didn't have a PS4, obviously I'd have to use it, but it wouldn't be bad. This is just a preference, and this is just my opinion. I like this one for that reason, and I dislike this one for that reason. But it's not like I hate it towards like, oh, I would never use them. I hate them. No, like I prefer this one over that one. Having the option to pick, I'd pick this one. If I didn't have an option, then obviously I would still use it because I'm still going to play the games that I want to play. But yeah, this one has just always felt better, whether I've taken it, to locals or gone to other, places, or even just playing amongst me and my friends. Even when I'm playing either version, because the one thing that's weird is that if I'm playing Street Fighter 6 on PS5, right? It's a PS5 game. I can't use this. Obviously, I'd have to use that unless I have a converter, but we're saying no converter on this one. So if you're playing Street Fighter 6 on PS5, you have to use this controller. Where if you're on a PS5 and you put in Street Fighter 6 but the PS4 disc or digital, whatever you want, you can use either one to play. Which is so weird. Like I get why you would be able to, but you should make PS5 controllers available to the PS4. And I guarantee you it's something that it'd be easy for them to do. I guarantee you it'd be just a simple update, and I guarantee you it would work just fine. But they won't, because they want you to buy these controllers. It's the same reason why they won't put Hall effect sticks inside these controllers, because they want the thumbsticks to break, and they want you guys to go out and buy more. So that's another reason why I want to be self-sufficient and learn how to install the triggers and figure out what's wrong with this stuff myself. If you guys don't know, I don't know if it was on this channel, but I took apart a PS4 controller and I fixed it myself. And I need to actually do the same one for this one because it's not that hard. If you know how to fix your stuff, they last longer. You won't need to worry about buying another one. Can you imagine? Imagine if your PlayStation, your PS5 controller broke, right? And you needed to just go out and buy another one. You would need to spend almost, what, $70 on a new controller? When maybe the piece that's inside it costs like $20 at most, so you just saved yourself so much money. You have to learn these things, in my opinion, especially if you're someone who's an avid gamer, someone who's been gaming since they were a kid. And mind you, it's only been within the last maybe 5 to 3 years that I've been wanting to get more into learning how to fix things. And I mean fixing anything. Mice, keyboards, controllers, consoles, monitors, just things like that. Things within the gaming, universe. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Like I said, sorry to keep pulling in different directions, but that's the reason why I prefer these controllers. And like I said, if there's a reason why you dislike these controllers, as far as the stuff that's said here, or any of the stuff I had put up here as far as the battery wise or anything like that, how the buttons feel mushy, random things like that, you can always make them better. Mind you, it might cost some money, and like I said, not everybody's situation is the same, so if you can't, I get it. But you're going to understand there's always a way around that, There's always a way to do things, still get things done without having to spend so much. Like, trust me, I'm big on that also. In my opinion, you shouldn't have to spend an arm and a leg just to fix something. You should be able to just, have what you need and get it done. But yeah, that's, like I said, sorry to rant. That was just what's been on my mind recently. And not only that, another thing that brought it up is the other night, me and my fiance were playing, I want to say Tekken. And I handed her a PS4 controller, and she was like, I don't like the PS4. I like the PS5 one better. And she literally caught a beat on after that on Tekken because she said those are literally fighting words. So I had to I mained King, and I put the smackdown on her. But anyways, yeah, that's just my opinion. It's not against anyone who uses this one. We all game. We all have our preferences. Whether it comes to games, monitors, controllers, anything you can think of, we all have preferences. But yeah, guys, that was basically it. I just wanted to go ahead and make a video. I haven't seen you guys in a while, and honestly miss you guys. I miss the engagement we have. I miss the nice words you guys always say. Like, I really appreciate how good this community is, and I'm happy that it's my communities, because if you're someone like me, I remember going to CC's as a kid and putting, like, I shit you not, at the very end, I put maybe at least $1,000 in quarters in the damn arcades to play, Darkstalkers, what else? Tekken, old school Street Fighter. Like, I will always love that and remember that as a kid. 100%. That's what literally got me into playing. Not to mention having my older brother playing, Street Fighter on Super Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken. But things like that I'll always remember that and look at those as precious memories. I'll always love the fighting game community, and I'll always love fighting games. That's never gonna change, no matter what I play or do or how long I stay away from the games. Like, it's just not. It's something that's always gonna be a part of me and something I'm always gonna love. I understand there are bad aspects, but that's with any community, With any community, there's always gonna have, the bad with the good. But, that's basically it. Sorry to rant. But as per usual, whoever watches this video, I really appreciate it. And as per usual, I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you came to see the video, I appreciate the support. You're a real one. And, I'm going to try to be more consistent. Like I said, there's so many things to talk about. And I don't want to repeat something that somebody else said. I want to have my own genuine thoughts and bring something different to the table. That way, everything is basically covered. The whole aspect of everything is covered. Someone might be talking about, like the same topic, but Xbox controllers versus whatever game pads, fight sticks, whatever. So it's a good thing that we all have this out here. It's like the same thing with my other video of the does the stick on your arcade stick matter? Or your like stuff like that. Videos with little detail and having people come together to give their own opinion. Like, you guys might learn from each other. You might be able to be like, oh, well, I didn't know this joystick does that, or you can find this with that. Like, it's amazing, dude. You can understand learning about this new shit or learning about things you didn't know in general is amazing. It really is. Like, being able to know things and understand things better is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite feelings in the world. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you listening to me rant, and if you like the video, go ahead and like it or not. Don't waste your time. Like I said, if you feel like I make content that you'll like, go ahead and subscribe. But if you feel like you just like this video, then go ahead and give it a like or don't. I appreciate you watching regardless. But yeah, y'all be easy. Y'all hope everything's good, and Hope your family's good, your friends are good. Hope you're doing good. You know what I mean? I appreciate you hanging out. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.